Phosphor Dot fans, Earl at thelogbook.com. We are back on the Colecovision and we're going to play some Ladybug. Now, since the rights for Pac-Man were locked down at the time that Coleco released its console, this was really the closest you had to a Pac-Man style game on the Colecovision. Ladybug being one of that, entire kind of generation of games that emerged in the wake of Pac-Man. But Coleco had an overall deal with Universal to license games such as Ladybug and Cosmic Adventure, I believe, is another Universal title they had. And Mr. Do. They also had the rights to Mr. Do. Now, what differentiates Ladybug from Pac-Man is that you have these kind of turnstile type doors. And there's no extra control required to activate them, you just sort of push your way through them. If you notice, very early in the level, I cleared the area immediately around the cage from which my enemies would be emerging. It's just a good idea to get that out of the way. Oh! Don't touch the skulls. Skulls are bad. Unless there's one in your head, and then try to keep it there. That really doesn't have anything to do with Ladybug, by the way. That's just good advice for life. Keep your skull in your head. If you can't do that, if you can't manage that, you're really doing it wrong. Ah! Now you can use the doors to kind of throw off a pursuer. Or just let one jump right on top of you like I did there, which that wasn't good. That's not how you should do it. Oh, good. We're now on to the carrot level. Why did I do that? You can see there's a timer running around the edge of the screen that counts down how much time before the next enemy emerges from that cage at the center. So you have a little window where you have freedom of movement in there, but not a big one. Ah! Oh! My poor Ladybug. I think Coleco was very wise at the outset to work deals with companies like Exidy and Universal because their games were not uncommon to find in the arcade. Universal had a pretty good arcade footprint. I mean, maybe not as big as Atari's. And the same goes for Exidy. These were popular games that had been overlooked because they weren't, I don't know how you'd put it, A-list titles. And so it was, I think it was a very smart idea for ColecoVision to pick up some stuff that, as far as licensing went, might have been, on the B list. Oh, I didn't want you to go there, but you did it. You did it anyway. Darn you, Ladybug. Come on. Let's get this space cleared. Let's go ahead and get the approach to that cage. Get it cleared out, so I don't have to worry about going back there once there are 3 or 4 of these things on the screen chasing me. Because as soon as that timer gets back to the top of the screen, there will be more. Oh, hey. Oh, oh. Yeah, the only catch with Ladybug is you've got to have your Ladybug in exactly the right place to turn the door. If you land in the middle, well, that's not going to do. She's got to be in just the right place, or the door will not turn. We're on to the eggplant level. Let's be a little more careful around the skulls, shall we? Yeah, if your enemies run into the skulls, well, it does them about as much good as it does you. So it's always a good idea, if you're feeling particularly daring, to try to get them to chase you right into a skull. Make a last-minute turn. And of course, it's really the best idea to avoid them altogether. Oh, that timer's counting down fast. This is going to be... This is going to be one of those levels. I can see it now. Ha ha ha! Oh wow, did he take the skull out with him? That's handy. Hey guys, come get me. I'm right behind the skull. I really think Ladybug is one of those games that is different enough from Pac-Man that while it may have been inspired by Pac-Man, it's not necessarily a rip-off. Now you have stuff like Popeye Pac-Man. I'll have to play that at some point soon because I've been playing the other Popeye games so much. Yeah! And there was a version of Pac-Man that simply replaced Pac-Man with the face of Popeye for reasons. Well, I mean, I can figure out the reasons because If you think about it, especially if you go to the cartoon version of Pac-Man, the Saturday morning cartoon, it was Popeye rewritten. I mean, swap out Pac-Man for Popeye, swap out Power Pellets for Spinach. It's a Popeye cartoon. It's basically the same thing. Um, Maybe without quite the horrific thing of, you know, Popeye's enemy trying to, you know, consume his flesh. But the so I guess the Popeye to Pac-Man swap isn't that out there, but it was still a bizarre thing for someone to have done, and that was a ripoff because in all other respects that game was Pac-Man. So there you have it, Ladybug for the ColecoVision. Fun little game, cheerful music, interesting color palette, just an interesting game mechanic. I like it. And the ColecoVision definitely did it proud. That was a nearly perfect home version of Ladybug.